Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new Halacha for you, and it's for Tuesday, the 23rd day of February. Here we go. Well, this is Purim Katan, the small Purim. That's going to be on Tuesday, the 23rd of February, 2016. Let's explain real quickly what that is. Purim always happens on the 14th of Adar. Tuesday is the 14th of Adar, but there are 2 months of Adar this year, and Purim is celebrated mostly and mainly in the second Adar, in the one that's a month away. So this became and is called the small Purim. And it means that Purim would have been on this day if we didn't have a leap year, but since we have 2 Adars during this Jewish leap year, and Purim is celebrated close to Pesach, so it's 1 month away, and this is the small Purim. You won't notice a lot of festivities on the small Purim. We don't read Al Hanisim, we don't read the Megillah, we don't send presents to each other, mostly. And generally, the only thing you'll see in it is that we won't be reciting Tachlin because it is a bit of a festive day. And interestingly, the Shulchan Aruch ends with a discussion of Purim Katan. It's the last thing in Orach Chaim, in the section about the way we carry our lives, and it ends with a discussion of Purim Katan. And it says that there's basically no big celebration on Purim Katan. And on Purim Katan, you don't have to have anything, but it might be a good idea to have one increased Seuda on the day of Purim Katan. And the Shulchan Aruch ends with the words, V'tov leiv mishtet tamid. And those who are of good-natured heart, they're always happy, or something like that, depending on how you translate it. And here's where it gets really interesting. The word tamid is kind of like the last word in the discussion there in that section of the Shulchan Aruch discussing Purim Katan. The word tamid also shows up right at the beginning of Orach Chaim, where the Shulchan Aruch tells us, Shivisi Hashem lenegdi samid, that I put Hashem in front of me always. So you have this word always discussing fear of heaven at the beginning of this section of Shulchan Aruch. You have the word tamid discussing joyousness at the end of Purim Katan, and they both have the word tamid. And that leads to a fascinating discovery that I'm going to try and tell you in 2 minutes or less. Here goes. Once a convert came to Hillel and said, could you tell me the short version of the whole Torah? And Hillel said to him, oh, v'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Basically, he told him it in different words, but he said, love your fellow like yourself, and that's basically the whole Torah. And the rest is just extra stuff. And that's a fascinating answer to give, because loving your friend like yourself really only incorporates all the Bein Adam Lachaveiro, all those laws between man and man. It doesn't really talk about man and God. So what kind of answer was that from Hillel? I want to ask you another question, and that question is, right before the Jewish people got the Torah, they were ki'ish echad b'lev echad, the Torah tells us. They were like one man altogether right before they got the Torah. And that's kind of interesting. Why did that happen right before they got the Torah? So I want to tie these two things together real quickly and tell you something fascinating. Hillel was telling this convert, learn to love your fellow like yourself, and you're on the road to learning the whole Torah. Because even fear of God and understanding how to have a relationship with God will emanate from your sensitivity to others. And that's why, right before they got the whole Torah, they were also ki'ish echad b'lev echad, all like one person, all joined together joyously, not stingy, not selfish or anything. And that's why the Shulchan Aruch begins with these words of put God in front of you always, and ends with have a good eye towards others always, and the two are connected. You see, the giant lesson that I'm leading to here is that being sensitive with your fellow and being kind and open-minded and have good eyes, in other words, not be stingy and selfish, but just be loving and caring and sensitive to others, that is the source from which all spirituality grows. It's a trick in life, not a cheap trick, a real secret of life. That sensitivity and gentleness and favor with others is the seat of all spirituality, and it will even enhance your Bein Adam Lamakom. It will enhance your relationship with God. Because a person who walks around selfish and stingy and uncaring about others can't really develop a good sense of spirituality. A person who is caring and loving with his fellow people will eventually grow from that the seeds of spirituality and closeness to God also. And that's why, interestingly, Al Shulchan Aruch starts with the word tamid, talking about our fear of God, ends with the word tamid, speaking about Purim Katan and how we should always be favorable with others and celebrate with others always, And the two are inextricably connected, because if I lost you anywhere, here's the punchline. The punchline is doing good for others, which is what Purim represents, brings you to spirituality with God. Because a person who is selfish and stingy and uncaring can't really develop spirituality. And a person who does love others, that's the seed of his development of all spirituality, including closeness to God. And that is a message that sort of emanates from the lesson of Purim Katan that tells us, Tov Leiv, Mishta Tamid. Those who are good-hearted are always celebrating with others, and eventually they will come back to the source, which is fearing God. Well, that was speechy. I hope it made sense to you. Thanks for logging on. Have a festive and meaningful Purim Katan. Bye-bye.